The rain hammered against the windows of my small apartment in Seattle, mirroring the storm raging inside me. My name is Silas, and until a few weeks ago I thought I had it all. A good job as a software developer, a cozy home, and a loving wife, Meredith. We'd been married for 7 years, a milestone we celebrated with a trip to the Oregon coast, or so I thought. It started subtly. Meredith, a vibrant and outgoing marketing manager, began working longer hours. "Big project at work, Silas," she'd say, her smile a little too bright, her eyes avoiding mine. I brushed it off. I trusted her. I loved her. We were a team. Then came the canceled dinners, the unexplained late nights, the hushed phone calls she took outside on the porch. My gut churned with unease, but I stubbornly clung to the belief that I was just being paranoid. Maybe it was the stress of my own project at work, a demanding new software rollout that had me burning the midnight oil myself. The first real crack in the facade appeared when I found a receipt in her purse. A small, innocuous thing, a charge for 2 glasses of wine at a bar I'd never heard of, on a night she claimed to be working late. Confronting her was like pulling teeth. She stammered, her face flushed, and finally confessed she'd gone out with a client she'd never mentioned before. I let it go, partly because I wanted to believe her, partly because I was terrified of what I might find if I dug deeper. But the unease persisted, festering in my mind like a slow-acting poison. I started paying closer attention. I noticed the way she flinched when I touched her, the way she avoided my gaze, the way her phone was always clutched tightly in her hand. One evening, while Meredith was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I knew I shouldn't, but I couldn't help myself. I picked it up. A text message from a number I didn't recognize. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow night. Thinking about that kiss." My blood ran cold. The world tilted on its axis. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut, winded and reeling. I stared at the message, my mind refusing to process what it meant. Meredith, my Meredith, cheating. I scrolled through the thread, each message a knife twisting in my heart. Pet names, inside jokes, explicit details of their rendezvous. The other man was named Quentin, a colleague of hers, apparently. They'd been seeing each other for months. Months of lies, deception, and betrayal. The shower stopped. I frantically wiped the tears from my eyes, shoved the phone back on the nightstand, and stumbled out of the bedroom, my heart pounding in my chest. I needed to get out, to breathe, to think. But all I could feel was a crushing weight of disbelief and pain. I spent the next few days in a daze, barely functioning at work. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't stop replaying those text messages in my head. Meredith acted like nothing was wrong, showering me with affection, asking about my day, planning our next weekend getaway. The hypocrisy was nauseating. I knew I couldn't stay silent. I had to confront her, but I wanted to be prepared. I needed proof. So against my better judgment, I installed a hidden camera in our living room, disguised as a smoke detector. It felt like a violation, but I needed to know the truth, to have undeniable evidence of her betrayal. 2 days later, I got my answer. I was at work when I received a notification on my phone. Motion detected in the living room. I pulled up the live feed, my hands trembling. And there she was, Meredith, in our living room, wrapped in Quentin's arms, kissing him passionately. The camera captured everything. Their intimate embrace, their whispered words of affection, their blatant disregard for me and our marriage. I watched in stunned silence, my heart shattering into a million pieces. This wasn't a fleeting moment of weakness. This was a full-blown affair. It was premeditated, calculated, and cruel. I closed my laptop, grabbed my keys, and drove home, my mind a swirling vortex of anger, hurt, and disbelief. I didn't know what I was going to say, what I was going to do, but I knew I couldn't pretend anymore. I walked into the house to find them still entangled on the couch, lost in their own little world. They didn't even notice me at first. The shock on their faces when they finally saw me was almost comical. "Silas," Meredith gasped, scrambling to her feet, her face ashen. Quentin, the arrogant bastard, just smirked. "What the hell is going on here?" I demanded, my voice shaking with rage. Meredith launched into a flurry of excuses, denials, and half-truths. She claimed it was a mistake, a moment of weakness, that she still loved me. But her words rang hollow. I'd seen the truth with my own eyes. "Don't insult my intelligence," I said, my voice cold and hard. "I know everything. I saw the texts. I saw the video." Quentin finally spoke, his voice dripping with condescension. Look, Silas, maybe you're just not satisfying her. Maybe she needs someone who Kenny lunged at him, fueled by a primal rage I never knew I possessed. I landed a solid punch on his jaw, sending him sprawling to the floor. Meredith screamed, trying to pull me off him, but I was beyond reason. I wanted to hurt him, to make him feel the pain I was feeling. I eventually managed to regain some control, but the damage was done. The fight was over. The marriage was over. I kicked Quentin out of the house and turned to Meredith, my eyes filled with a mixture of anger and sorrow. "Get out," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "Just get out and don't ever come back," she begged, she pleaded, she promised to change, but I was done. The trust was gone, shattered beyond repair. I couldn't forgive her. I couldn't forget what she'd done. She left that night taking a suitcase full of clothes and a lifetime of memories with her. I watched her go, feeling a strange mix of relief and despair. The pain was still there, raw and agonizing, but there was also a sense of liberation. I was free. Free from the lies, the deception, the betrayal. The divorce was messy and bitter. Meredith fought me every step of the way, trying to claim half of everything we owned, but I refused to back down. I had the evidence, the texts, the video, and I was determined to protect myself. In the end, I won. I got the house, the car, and a significant portion of our savings. Meredith was left with nothing but her guilt and her affair partner, who, as it turned out, was also married. His wife, a kind and gentle woman named Odette, eventually found out about the affair and left him, taking their 2 children with her. Karma, it seemed, had a way of catching up with people. I spent the next few months rebuilding my life piece by piece. I threw myself into my work, reconnected with old friends, and started exploring new hobbies. It wasn't easy. The pain lingered, a constant reminder of what I'd lost, but I refused to let it define me. One evening, I was at a local coffee shop when I saw Odette sitting alone at a table, looking lost and forlorn. I hesitated for a moment, then decided to approach her. "Excuse me," I said. "I don't mean to intrude, but I think we have something in common." She looked up at me, her eyes filled with sadness. "I'm not sure I understand," she said. "My name is Silas," I said. "My wife had an affair with Quentin." Her eyes widened in recognition. "Oh," she said softly. "I'm Odette. We talked for hours that night, sharing our stories, our pain, our hopes for the future. We discovered that we had a lot in common, not just our shared experience of betrayal, but also our values, our dreams, and our sense of humor. Over the next few months, Odette and I grew closer. We found solace in each other's company, a sense of understanding that we couldn't find anywhere else. We started dating, cautiously at first, then with increasing passion and commitment. I never thought I could love again after what Meredith did to me. But Odette showed me that it was possible to heal, to forgive, and to open my heart to new possibilities. 2 years later, I married Odette in a small ceremony surrounded by our closest friends and family. It wasn't the life I had planned, but it was a good life. A happy life. A life filled with love, trust, and mutual respect. Meredith, on the other hand, never remarried. She bounced from job to job, relationship to relationship, never finding the happiness she thought she deserved. I heard through mutual friends that she regretted her choices, that she missed me, that she wished she could turn back time, but it was too late. The past was the past, and I had moved on. I had found my happily ever after, not in the way I expected, but in a way that was far more meaningful and fulfilling. The rain outside has stopped, and a sliver of sunlight peeks through the clouds. I look at Odette, who is sitting beside me on the couch, her hand resting on mine. I smile, knowing that I am finally home. I am finally at peace. Remember, betrayal can be a devastating blow, but it doesn't have to define you. It can be an opportunity for growth, for healing, and for finding a love that is stronger and more resilient than ever before. Don't let the pain consume you. Let it empower you to create a better future for yourself. Stay strong and never give up on the possibility of happiness.